Long ago, 5 men set out from their own paths to achieve their own destinies. Now they are brothers, united under one cause. Alone they are strong, together they are unbreakable. They are bonded by metal.
Welcome back to Bonded by Metal, and here we are after we had just done a whole ranking the albums from thrash metal legends Testament. Here we are, as we promised, saying we would review the new album Parabellum out today on Nuclear Blast Records. It is the 13th album, another great gorgeous painting by Elron Cantor. And here to talk about the album naturally with me is the man who I ranked the Testament albums with, Imperitus. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, doing pretty good tonight. Just relaxing. Nice quick day at work. Well, it wasn't quick lengthwise, but it seemed to go quick, so I'm good with that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, this album seems to be getting a lot of conversation on day one of its release. And I've been kind of looking at the reactions. I avoided all of them until I heard it myself. Then I decided I'll look at where others are. And it's really interesting to see where the reactions are with this one. So I guess naturally, I will lead off with my thoughts on this. I was surprised how much I enjoyed this album. I was a little concerned going into it that because I enjoyed Infanticide AI as much as I did, that I was going to get a case of half an album that I really enjoyed and half of an album that I did. And it turns out that actually wasn't the case. I actually ended up really enjoying the album. And there's a few things I was like, okay, I can see why maybe people may not like specific things. For let's just say, for example, the opening song, For the Love of Pain, has a little bit of a breakdown in there. And I can see people who maybe, thrash metal or even just regular heavy metal, Pierce, whatever, not be fond about that. Because I could see why some may see that as out of place. But for me personally, for all the complaints I had about Symptoms on Titans of Creation being a Lamb of God groove metal song, I was actually okay with the beatdown on this song. I really enjoyed it. And then you had the ballad Meant to Be. I've made it very out in the open between Cold Embrace, Trail of Tears. I think it's my overall favorite one, Trail of Tears from Low. Then there's the ballad. I thought Meant to Be was strong. Obviously, the Dragon Lord influences are much more apparent than they are before. I feel like there's really a whole reduction in the Lamb of God groove metal type of thing going on. I actually thought Chris Dovis was a great addition on the drums, better than I thought he would be. I actually thought all the songs had memorable hooks and lots of dynamics going on. And I was surprised with the 50-minute runtime. I learned it was 8 or 9 minutes shorter than the previous album. It didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome to me. And of course, Chuck Billy's singing was great. I was shocked at how strong the Parabellum title track was. The album closer felt very colossal to me. I was like, damn, this is coming in really hot for an album closer. And considering I feel like that's probably one of their weaknesses in a lot of the later albums is the back half of the albums. But this one feels like it's kind of the exception to the rule. Now, that all said, one of my criticisms here, and maybe this could change for better and maybe even worse, I felt like Witch Hunt, it was Witch Hunt and Nature of the Beast. I felt like those songs were a bit weaker than the rest. I know there's been some complaints about the Fitz song. I think it's called Hot Shot or something. I can't remember the title. I have no problems with that song. But however, Witch Hunt and Nature of the Beast, I didn't think that they were bad, but it was definitely, for me, less enjoyable as far as songs of enjoyment. Overall, though, I actually really enjoyed this album, both listens, and I'm really excited to give this more listens for the next week, whatever, until I decided I'm going to put on something else. Obviously, the new Coroner arrives next week, so I'll check that out, of course, but let's see if it can stay in the rotation between that and Castle Rat and Ambush and what was the other one? Crypt Sermon. We'll see if Testament can maintain its spot in the rotation. But those are pretty much the bulk of my thoughts. I want to hear what Imperitus has to say.
Well, I'm on the, I want to say completely, but I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum from you.
Okay. Why so?
Oh, by the way, the fifth track is High Noon.
High noon. Okay, so it's not.
And yeah,
thank you.
To put it in a simple way, I guess, if I want blackened thrash, there's other bands that do it better.
Okay.
And I love Testament. We talked about them for an hour on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're a fan, undeniably so. Go on.
But it's one of those things where it just didn't feel like a Testament record. The only song that kind of had one of those Testament riffs that kind of hooked you to me was Shadow People.
Okay.
Witch Hunt, didn't like that song at all. And the ballad. Really, with the fucking ballads again, guys? And you didn't put it in the middle or the back half of the album like you used to. You put it at track fucking 3.
I think it was the fourth song. I think Meant to Be was the fourth song because Shadow People.
Oh, you're correct. You're correct. It is the fourth.
It's okay. Not a big deal.
But it's, I don't know. Maybe it's as I've gotten older, which I am. My tastes have kind of solidified as to what I like and what I don't. And if that's the case, then that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel like a thrash record.
I could see it didn't feel like a thrash record.
It had way more groove to it. And I don't mind groove metal to a degree. But as I said Wednesday, I really hate it when a band has a sound like, oh, let's experiment, let's change. And that just drives me insane, especially when a band has their signature sound. That would be like Iron Maiden completely flipping it around and doing death metal.
And I agree on that one. See, I didn't feel like, unlike Titans of Creation, which had a full-on groove metal track with Symptoms, I didn't feel like this album had any songs like that where I feel like bros getting together and throwing down for a wall of death. I felt like there were songs that were groovier, but they still had a good amount of speed where it was, faster, but it wasn't like, and then there was, of course, songs that tons of them that were full on speed, but they were definitely more on the hyper speed, almost teetering on death metal.
Yeah, there was a few that I was like, huh? I mean, don't get me wrong. The new drummer they got, like you said, he's really good.
He's really good. And
very good.
I was shocked because following Gene Hoglan is no simple task at all.
No, not at all.
No matter who you are.
Yeah. And nothing against the guys in Testament, any of them. They are all way more talented musically than I could ever hope to be. So it's not a knock on them personally. It's not a knock on their talent. It's just what they put together this time just didn't hit for me.
Okay. I looked into when we talked about Symptoms from Titans of Creation. And it turns out that was an Alex Skolnick written song. And I looked at like the bulk of it. I'm like, that could be why that one stood out so much. He only did one song where he wrote it fully on this album. And that actually was the ballad Meant to Be, which once again, I really dug. I know you are into the ballads. For me, they've been doing them since Practice, so I'm naturally okay with it. Now that doesn't mean every album's had them because there's some that didn't. Demonic, The Gathering, but there's been a lot of them that have had at least one an album. Once again, Low, Practice What You Preach,
Souls of Black,
Dark Roots of Earth, Souls of Black. They've all had their one ballad. Some have been middle of the album, later half of the album. I really like that the second half was actually on the solidifying, keeping it all heavy. I thought it was actually really interesting to have that ballad being the fourth song. I thought that was a bold move. And I was actually, once again, for me, where are you at with Witch Hunt and Nature of the Beast? Because I felt like for me, those were some of the weaker tracks on the album. For me, they were, once again, they weren't bad, but there was like nothing that really felt like it was grabbing me. Those same way the other songs were.
Yeah. I mean, if this was a band that wasn't Testament, I'd probably be a little bit more like, okay, this isn't too bad. But again, like I said, that as you brought up Eric Peterson with his black metal band, you could hear some more of the influences in it. And like I said, if I want to hear some black and thrash, there's plenty of bands that do that and actually do it better.
Okay.
Looking at, like, say, Toxic Holocaust, for example.
Oh, can't wait to see them next
month. You're going to love them, dude.
Oh, I know I will.
But, that's a prime example of good blackened thrash. And maybe not even saying blackened thrash. Maybe it's just more of a just old school thrash.
Yeah, the ship is clearly sailed as far as a full-on old school thrash album, but to be fair and consistent, that ship has sailed as far back as even the Gathering per se, maybe even Demonic even. That I Demonic, because this album to me has a lot of those ones that are almost as heavy as Demonic without being a full-on death metal album, except to me the songwriting is dramatically better on here than Demonic. I
Oh,
feel like
I
it's
will
like,
agree with
okay,
you on that.
this to me, like I would have appreciated an album like Demonic more if the songwriting was more memorable for me from
Yeah.
that perspective. And I don't like giving out rankings because I feel like that's too soon because it can always go up or go down.
Look what
But I
happened with
guess
your take on Demonic is a prime example.
oh yeah, and that was one of the ones where it actually went worse for me. Whereas Souls of Black actually went up for me. So it's funny how that happens. And
Yep.
I'm not going to give a ranking. I guess I'll give a score. But overall, with the whole package, if I recall, you said before we went live, you don't think you're gonna listen to this anymore. Were you just being hyperbolic, or do you
A little
actually
hyperbolic.
mean that?
I mean, like I said, there were a couple tracks I liked, like Shadow People. I really enjoyed, and then Nature of the Beast was okay. Infanticide AI, I'm a little indifferent on because I'm kind of curious as what that's about. If they're talking like AI as in the Terminator kind of deal, or the modern day current implementation of AI and things. Because bear in mind, they are a California band, so
Oh yeah.
any band that comes out of California, regardless of style, I don't trust them in some cases. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I've read some of the lyrics, and it seemed like for me, what I got out of it, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, hey, Chuck or Eric, whoever wrote the lyrics to that song, because I didn't look at it, I got out of it the nature of being overly dependent on modern technology. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was my interpretation
I
of
mean,
some of
if
the
that's the
lyrics on
case,
that
then yeah, I
song.
can agree with them on that.
Yeah,
But
and
I'm wondering
I
if it's
would
just one
agree
of
on
those.
that too.
I'm just wondering if it's one of those things because you're aware of this as like I am that there are people crashing out about just people using AI for anything.
Oh, of course. There's a bit of an overreaction to that too. And I think you know my position on AI. It's all things in moderation, but I think the biggest problem, and this is a cultural issue, didn't think we'd be going to cultural issues on this, but every time when technology evolves or something new comes out,
Oh
we don't
yes,
teach people how to be moderate about it. All we teach them to be is how to become solely reliant on it, which I
yeah.
think is the worst way of going about it. You should say, hey, look at the benefits of this. Here are maybe some of the cons. Here's how to make some use of it, but don't become so dependent on it, because if you get dependent on it, you get so dependent to the point that you eventually start to not know how to operate without it. So
Yes.
that's as far as I'll go as cultural issues go. Bring it back to the review.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to
It's okay.
sidetrack, but it's relevant to what we were talking about, so it's not
Yes.
too terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse. I like what I
You
like.
feel how you feel, man.
Yeah, I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't. And if this wasn't a Testament album, I wouldn't dislike it. I wouldn't like it either. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Is I don't like it, but I don't dislike it either. I'm kind of indifferent on it.
So if you're indifferent, how do you feel it compares to Brotherhood of the Stake and Titans of Creation? Because you and I were kind of in unison on
And
those
I'd put
albums.
it probably about the same level as those.
Okay, interesting, because I feel like they are dramatically better albums.
I mean, is it better than The Ritual? Yes.
Yes, of
Every
course.
single one of their albums is better than The Ritual. Is it better than Demonic? Also, yes.
Yes.
I would actually say it's probably this one, then Brotherhood, then Titans. Because like we were saying the other night about Brotherhood, you got one good song and a couple that had bits that were good. And Titans was a bit of a step up from that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you know what? If I catch hate for this, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure
I
a
don't
lot of my
care if
takes
you
on this
do.
channel are going to generate some.
I don't care.
Oh, I don't care either. I've dealt with it my entire life as far as metal goes. Either liking metal, period, getting into death metal, getting into black metal. I mean, when I started getting into black metal, it was considered a joke in this country.
Yeah,
In the mid
I've heard the
'90s, yeah.
history. Yeah. Do you have a score you want to give, or you just want to leave at
I'll
how
give it a
you feel?
5.
A 5 out of 10?
Average.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go with like an 8.1, 8.2. Now that could decrease within more listens, maybe it might even increase. We shall see. That's just our fresh off our minds, caught
Yeah,
up
I've
in
only
the
gotten
recency
2
and the
listens to the
hype.
album, man.
Yeah. But I do plan on going back to it. I'm actually really enthusiastic about going back to and listening more times, which I wasn't feeling with Brotherhood, which I wasn't feeling with Titan. So I'm actually like really like jazzed even more for when my vinyl arrives. Which
Yeah.
why Nuclear Blast Records, why haven't you shipped my vinyl yet that I paid for? I would like my vinyl, please. I had to go to Rolling Stone Records outside of Chirac to get my CD, which I was going to do anyways, to be fair. I was just hoping to have both on the release day, but whatever. At least I have the CD. I have it, and I'm excited to listen to it, and I'm curious to see how it's gonna hold up in
Can
my
I ask you
rotation.
the equivalent of a tech support question?
Sure.
Do you even have a record player?
No, I did.
Okay.
Now I don't. I
Did
have.
you understand why I referred to that as a tech support question? That's the equivalent.
Yeah.
Did you plug it in?
Yeah. So yeah, one man really enjoys this album. The other man is like, I don't know about all that. So what are your thoughts? I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Did you like it? Did you think it was even okay? Because not everything always has to be awful or amazing. Sometimes some things can just be average or mediocre or in the middle. There are middle of the road thoughts out there. Not everything is one extreme or the other. However, I am on one of those extremes of this is a damn great album. And I didn't think I was going to be coming away with saying that. It doesn't mean I had lowered expectations. I actually still maintain my high expectations, and yet I felt like they were shockingly met. So put your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. And if you haven't watched our Ranking the Albums from Testament, well, I'll see if I can have a link popping at the end of this video. If not, I'll put it in the comments. But thank you for watching this video. You lay down your souls to the gods rock and roll.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a laugh.